205 pounds, guys, is Jamahal Hill the best thing that could happen? It's a very interesting question, and my buddy Troy asked me this. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, listen, it's perceived that Glover is too old. From a perspective that if you bring a guy in, you shine him up a little bit, which was that world championship and all that marketing that comes along with it, what's his shelf life? How many times do you get to bring him out there? It's good for him, but is it good for us? Well, that's a fair question. I think that maybe we even saw some of that. Now, let's go look at Uncle Aya. He looks pretty darn good. Well, that's true, but he doesn't have a mastery of the English language. Can definitely be done. It's being done with Islam right now, but would it be easier if we had a different champion? All right, who are you thinking? And Blachowicz checks a lot of boxes. Blachowicz is a good-looking guy. He brings a part of the world with him that nobody else, at least not to that level, is bringing. I mean, right, that's a pretty powerful thing. He's also 39 years old. He was already champion. And when that needle doesn't move, it doesn't move, right? The worst drawing heavyweight champion of all time for Vince McMahon is Kevin Nash. And if a guy can't get over when the opponent is cooperating with him, you have a problem. But putting the strap around Nash in the first place was absolutely the right move. But once you do it, once you put the belt on him and come hook or crook, whatever it is that leads to the fact that he got over or that he didn't, you now have your answer. Do I keep him over or do I get the belt off of him? And if you get the belt off of him, don't put the son of a bitch in a position where you can give it back. And I'm just bringing to you, I think that these are a few of the problems. Like, we don't have to wonder how Glover's going to do as champion. We've seen it. We don't have to wonder how Jan's going to do as champion. We've seen it. The one great story that will bring some star power, and I don't know that it's going to be big and powerful and glowing, but it will bring some shine, is the return of Prochazka. And Prochazka's entire situation could have been played 5 different ways that would all be better than the one that it is being played as. I mean, there is so much more to Prochazka having an injury. He gets stripped of the belt, but he came out and said he vacated. Now, that seems like a very small detail to me, except when I have people push back and tell me, why do you keep saying he was stripped? It was vacated. And then guess what they used as their argument? Prochazka himself. They actually tell me this in the comment section. Prochazka vacated. He wasn't stripped. As a matter of fact, I just heard him say it. Right? It's like, shut up. But it's interesting for whatever reason, whether it should be or not, the fact that they stripped him and that mattered to the point that he wanted to say that he vacated it. There's interesting things there. And we all appreciate a good comeback story, right? There is nothing more powerful in America than a victim. It doesn't matter if you're an astrophysicist. It does not matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, or a businessman. You want the power in the room in America, sadly, go and be the victim. You'll have all the focus. And he is a victim here. He truly is. He wanted to keep fighting. He got an injury that he didn't wave the white flag on. He's got an interesting look. We're going to get a pretty good feel for the division by the time he returns. It might be somebody who he has crossed paths with before. And that torch also might get passed, and we might begin to speculate. Well, he can't beat that guy because look at Redmond. They're doing that with Jon Jones. Jon Jones can't beat anybody at heavyweight because Dominic Reyes is having a hard time getting his victories right now. But that is the math that we do, and a lot of these things can be very beneficial, and I think when Prochazka comes back, you're going to have a pretty good answer. I really do. I think he's got a massive opportunity. Watching how he's playing the strip versus vacate situation, right? There's ways for Prochazka through this injury and this process and this return to be the most beloved person that 205 pounds could possibly offer. We should not bank on the idea that he's going to do any of those potential things. And it brings me back to my initial premise and what Troy said about, is Jamahal Hill the best option? Because now you've got youth. It's one thing Glover doesn't have. Bilingual. Not so fast. I should say bilingual. English speaking. And I can't give him a nod there because Glover is absolutely fluent. A story that we don't all know, well, that helps. There's really nothing better than a little bit of mystery. Vince McMahon would sell out WrestleManias with Brock Lesnar not letting him speak for many, many years. And Vince didn't let him speak because he believes monsters don't talk. And another thing, the speculation, right? Brock's this interesting guy. He lives out in the middle of nowhere and he doesn't have a cell phone, which is a straight up lie. If Brock's ever told you that, he just doesn't want to talk to you. But I'm sharing with you, it was kind of hard to get in on him. It was kind of know how he was feeling, and it was helpful. When your mind can run on your own, you will generally come to a much more grandiose conclusion. It could be a good one. It could also be a bad one. I'm talking about a bigger one. It will be more grandiose in either direction. So, is Jamahal the answer? Is he the best answer? Is that a guy you could really put your marketing machine behind? He's got the length. He appears to have the skills. From what I've seen him, he's got the attitude. He's an underdog here. We'll get to the X's and O's of Jamahal versus Glover another day. He is an underdog. I don't know that he's got more in terms of fighting ability than his opponent here, Glover. Championship rounds, 5th rounds, dealing with adversity, being down 2 rounds and have to find a way to come back and you only got 3 left, right? I mean, there's a lot of things where you could count on Glover. The house is on fire. Give the ball to Glover. A lot of things you could count on, but that doesn't mean that Jamal's not going to respond just as effectively. We just haven't seen it. So again, before we get down to who's going to win, and I acknowledge Hill's the underdog, I'm just talking about for what comes next. Like, it would be such a feel-good moment for Glover to win. And I felt that twice. The night he beat Blachowicz, oh my goodness, it was aspirational. We can still do it. The world doesn't belong to 18 to 25-year-olds, right? It was one of those great moments. And when he lost with 30 seconds left in a fight that he was winning, felt it the opposite way. Oh. So we know about a great moment that we can all share if Glover wins, and possibly even a greater moment than if Jamahal wins. But that's checkers. Let's look at chess, which is 2 and 3 moves down the road. I don't know what I'd want to see next for Glover. I could think of 4 or 5 ideas I'd like to see next for Jamahal. So it's an interesting question, right? I mean, it's just a debate. It's between those two boys, and we got nothing to do with it. But when you do look from a marketing standpoint, and this division is having one hell of a difficult time, those guys don't help themselves. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't even know that you should be looking in the direction of it. Like, to think about who got most questions as a press conference and to look at that as a competition, they would never do. To think about looking at your social media and what are the reactions you're getting numbers-wise and what are other guys getting numbers-wise, they wouldn't even think that that would matter. Who can draw? Who can sell out? What are you doing in a live gate? They wouldn't even cross their mind to know that they should care about those things. And they're all guilty. They're competitors. They're competitors. They're going to do their talking with their fists. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Is Jamahal the answer? At least for now, is he the best answer?